What a great day to talk about gaming. Hello, everyone. Hello, Twitter. And if I decide to post this later over on YouTube, what's up to the 65,000 of you guys? Thank you so much for supporting my content in whatever way you decide and the way you decide to consume it in that regards. Today, we're talking about a discussion that I kicked off over on Twitter, which got a lot of people talking, a lot of points being made. I thought it'd be simpler to just honestly sit down and talk to you guys face to face about kind of three key aspects. They all are in a way blended together, but just to kind of separate what I've seen, being discussed is that the Xbox Series S is holding back the Xbox brand, that the optimization is one of the key issues that is keeping Baldur's Gate 3 from obviously the Xbox platform, and that's why Sony is getting it first, but ultimately that the marketing lied and that parity in and of itself isn't necessarily clear. Now, I've asked for specific statements about, the marketing in this case, because my personal opinion is all marketing lies, and I pointed this out in a couple of different tweets as well. But at the end of the day, I can't fault the world for being the world. It's, that's the nature of the business, and that sucks, but it is what it is, right? Like, my PS5 didn't play, Final Fantasy 16 at, 4K 60 frames a second. It barely did that, but, at the end of the day, I'm not mad. The marketing tells me what the system could be capable of, but that's where we get into the software engineering and the root of optimization and how it's going to vary case by case and game by game. But let's not just, beat around the bush. The Xbox Series S has a problem, and the problem is a perception problem. And the problem really is rooted into what is gaming? What does it mean? Is this what are the core roots of, and what should we be striving for within the global term of it, like the bigger gaming aspect of it? The Xbox Series S, for those who don't know, is the $300 entry level into the consoles, which is the Xbox Series X and S. Bad naming, absolutely garbage. Bad job, Microsoft, when it comes to naming. And that's just been their history. So I can't, I'm not really shocked by that. The next console being, some kind of garbage name system, that's going to be what it is. The PlayStation 5 is the counterpoint, and they have two versions. They have a digital version, which is just $100 cheaper with no disc drive, and then they have the disc drive on. I have a digital PS5. I love it. All my games are digital anyway. I don't use discs, but there are still, there's still holdouts to the disc-based medium, in console spaces. Now, let's not, sugarcoat it. Consoles are the entry level into gaming because there's this bigger, wider concept called PC gaming. PC Master Race, sound off in the comments, repost this if you believe that, because this is where you start to see that super high fidelity game machine. So we've seen many games come out at 720p, not even pushing maybe even 1080p on a console of this generation. And I think that's really where the root is. This isn't an Xbox Series S problem. This is a perception problem with the power of these systems and the requirements that these game companies have. Now, the marketing and the policy push here is that the reason why Baldur's Gate 3 is not on Xbox day and date with its PlayStation counterpart is a policy issue driven by Microsoft. This policy issue is what says that if it's on the box, that it's going to have to be on the Series X and S, and that's what we want. That's not a bad policy. Apparently, I just got my 10,000 steps by moving my arm throughout this video. I'm Italian. We talk with our hands. So, so with that policy in place, that is what's preventing it, because from an engineering perspective, the Series S in split screen does not run the game at an acceptable level. The game needs to spend more time in optimization. Optimization isn't a dirty word. What it means is that how can we best use the hardware platform that we're targeting to do the things that we need it to do? And that is a software engineering challenge, one that will be solved and fixed by Larian, but one that takes more time, money, and resources. So that understanding of it isn't a dirty word. It isn't a dirty secret. Having more SKUs out in the market is meaning more development time and resources to support those additional SKUs. So the value versus the challenge here is it better to get gaming in more people's hands, or is it better to have a more premium experience? And if you're in the premium experience camp, you should be very anti-exclusive video games for these consoles because you're a PC gamer, because that's where the experience is. If you're hoping for that premium experience at a console, like, my heart goes out to you, but that's just not what they were designed for. Now, the economics of all this are really quite fascinating, because I think, at least from the conversations that I have, the undertone, this is my assumption into people's language, into their tweet language and whatnot, is that this generation of gaming, the Xbox Series X and S, again, bad name, bad Microsoft, don't do that again, please. The PS5 isn't living up to the expectations that we've seen with the general leaps that that have occurred with every generation prior to it. The hard drive space got honestly smaller because the size of these games have ballooned astronomically, but it's gotten faster loading times. It's gotten the ability to do more of the 4K stuff, and when we see developers offer the kind of the performance mode versus not, that's a development cost too. All of these things take time, money, and resources, and it's really going to be up to each developer where they want to go ahead and position this. This is really the conversation. This is the conversation I wish we could be having online. I think Larian is actually making the absolute best case possible for them to have. They got a release in August on PC, Steam. I've played on GeForce Now, and it's absolutely smashing. If you haven't had the chance to play Baldur's Gate 3, do yourself a favor. It's absolutely incredible. I don't care if you don't like turn-based games. It's still an incredible game. It's still incredible. So they got a release now. They get all that hype. Guess what? They get to step up and have the hype on the PS5 exclusive, getting to generate that fandom to be able to go and purchase and play that game. Now let's contrast that. It's still coming out for Xbox. They continue to say that it's on its way. They were not paid to have it on as a timed exclusive for PS5. It is still exists. In fact, it already exists now, which is actually really kind of exciting, is that we saw a PC first release, and they did that to step it away from Starfield. So for PlayStation fans who do not have the ability to play Starfield, they get to participate in something just as incredible, right? So it ends up being this perfect marketing strategy that was coupled and brought in by an engineering problem. Hey, we're not going to be ready to release. We need more time because of this Xbox policy, yada, yada, yada. Hey, guess what? Still coming to Xbox, still coming to Series S. Series S will be able to run it. They just need more time to optimize, not a dirty word, the actual thing that happens, them going through and making sure that it can run on the hardware. That doesn't mean the hardware isn't able to do it. It just means that from an engineering perspective, it's going to take more time. Now, people are hitting on the Series S for this very thing. And I think, and this is just where we differ. I value that more people should be able to play in this generation, which is a weird generation. It's a hybrid generation where we've seen more and more games still running. Like even, the latest news about Call of Duty 3, Modern Warfare 3, it's coming to Xbox One and PS4. Install base, volume of players is more critical to especially these companies. Starfield is an exception because it is this generation forward. We're seeing Microsoft start to actually get into that, where before, where PlayStation 5 was concerned, they started off with the idea that we're going to have a hardline generational gap, but then essentially kind of stepped that back and had more of a hybrid generation. But now we're starting to see them at the same time roll it out with Final Fantasy 16 being PS5. That's going to be, that PC level forward. I couldn't be happier for that. That in and of itself means that we're finally starting to shift into this. I think a lot of this delay, a lot of that stuff, naturally because we're all in the pandemic, but that's another topic that we don't need to rehash here. So in summary, Series S isn't holding back Xbox. I think it makes it more accessible, especially gives players the option. The underlying architecture, from everything I've seen in the design documents, again, I haven't gone hands-on coding on the Series X or S, and maybe one day I will, who knows? That's one of the things I like to do around here. One of the things that when it comes down to it is in parity. Now, it's important that they make that in parity, but they aren't still the same thing. And it's not that they aren't the same thing that all of a sudden people are going to start, pulling their projects from the Series S. We're actually talking about, especially with split screen, the engineering side of it. When you actually code a video game within the video game loop, if you're doing split screen, you almost immediately, without doing any optimization, are halving your CPU unit cycles. So that way it's going to account for doing this. Now, the graphics unit's actually also impacted because it is drawing two different areas in this case. Now, I don't know the direct comparison. I wouldn't call it a 50% graphics cut, because you're still loading in those resources. You're still having that in memory, so it doesn't have to go to the hard drive. But all of these are engineering challenges. All of these are relevant, but it's not holding back, at least in my opinion, because I believe it's actually a stronger case to have it more accessible. Is the game delayed? Yes. I don't think that's necessarily holding it back. I think that's actually in Larian's benefit, but you're welcome to disagree with me and any of this. Again, I think this is actually probably all for the best, and more that Larian can do to make money on this deal, the better for us as gamers is going to be, hands down. Anyway, guys, let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. You want to blast me for whatever reason, go for it. The internet will do its thing. Thanks so much for your time and your attention today. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that repost button. Maybe this is on YouTube. Smash that like button as well. And thanks so much for being here. And hopefully I'll see you in this next video thing that I do. Anyway,